It was a cold winter night in Harris County, Texas, USA. The streets were silent, covered in thick fog. At the edge of the city stood an old government hospital, Harris County General Hospital. But inside this hospital, there was one place everyone feared after midnight: the morgue. Locals called it the autopsy room, but most staff simply referred to it as the place where death never felt truly silent. Over time, strange rumors began spreading. People said that after 12 a.m., something inside that room started changing. Inside the hospital, Dr. Adrian Cole was a senior forensic pathologist. He was calm, highly logical, and completely fearless. He never believed in ghosts or supernatural stories. For him, everything had a scientific explanation. That night at 11:45 p.m., a police unit arrived with a body wrapped in a white sheet. A young male, approximately 22 years old, was found near a riverbank outside Houston. No ID, no phone, no identity. The duty officer informed Dr. Adrian immediately. "Doctor, urgent autopsy case," the officer said nervously. Dr. Adrian nodded. "Bring it to the morgue." The body was placed on the steel autopsy table inside the cold morgue room. The metal walls reflected the dim white fluorescent lights above. Dr. Adrian put on his gloves and prepared his instruments. His assistant, Michael Turner, stood nearby, visibly uncomfortable. "Doctor, this room feels strange tonight," Michael said quietly. Dr. Adrian replied in a calm voice, "Dead bodies don't change. Only human imagination does." He pulled the white sheet down. The body was swollen from water exposure, but something immediately caught his attention. Around the neck were deep marks, not rope marks, not scratches, but something that looked like fingers pressing with unnatural force. "Strange," Dr. Adrian muttered. He picked up his scalpel. At that exact moment, the lights flickered. Once, twice, then everything went completely dark. Only the emergency corridor light faintly entered through the glass window. Michael stepped back. "Doctor, the power is gone." Dr. Adrian stayed calm. "The generator will activate soon." But it didn't. Instead, silence filled the room. Then came a sound. Breathing. Slow, deep, unnatural. Dr. Adrian froze. It was not coming from him. Not from Michael. It was coming from the table. He slowly aimed his flashlight at the body. The chest was moving. Up, down. Up, down. Michael panicked. "Doctor, it's moving." Dr. Adrian whispered, "That's impossible." The white sheet slowly slid off by itself. Then, the eyes opened. Completely black. No white, only darkness. The body slowly turned its head toward Dr. Adrian. A deep, distorted voice came from its mouth. "Why did you bring me here?" Dr. Adrian stepped back for the first time in his life. Michael screamed, "Oh my God." For a brief second, the lights came back. And in that single second, everything changed. The room was no longer empty. There were multiple autopsy tables. And on each table, bodies were sitting upright. All of them were staring at Dr. Adrian. Then darkness returned instantly. When the emergency lights stabilized again, everything looked normal. Only one body remained on the table. Silent. Still. Michael was shaking. "Doctor, we need to leave." But Dr. Adrian didn't respond, because he noticed something terrifying. The scalpel in his hand was already covered in blood, but he hadn't started the procedure yet. From the corner of the room came a whisper. "Finish what you started." Dr. Adrian slowly turned toward the corner. Nothing was there. But on the glass window, a handprint slowly appeared from the inside. Michael grabbed his arm. "Doctor, please let's go." They rushed toward the door. But as they left, the door slowly closed by itself. CREKK. Locked. From inside the morgue, the sound of metal cutting started again. Slow. Precise. As if someone had continued the autopsy, alone. Outside in the corridor, Michael was shaking. "Doctor, this place is not normal." Dr. Adrian looked down at his hand. A fresh scratch had appeared. Deeper. As if something inside the darkness had touched him. That night, the morgue lights never stopped flickering again. It was 1:58 a.m. in Harris County General Hospital, Texas. The entire building was silent, but Dr. Adrian Cole could still hear one thing in his mind: the sound of breathing inside the morgue. He stood in the corridor, staring at his own hand. The scratch was still there, but now it looked darker, deeper, as if something inside it was moving under his skin. Michael Turner was shaking beside him. "Doctor, we should leave this place right now," Michael whispered. Dr. Adrian didn't answer immediately. His eyes were fixed on the morgue door. CREKK. The morgue door, which they clearly left locked, slowly moved. It opened by itself. A cold wave of air came out. Dr. Adrian took a slow step forward. "I need to understand what is happening inside there." Michael grabbed his arm. "Are you crazy? That thing spoke to you." But Dr. Adrian removed his hand. "I've seen death all my life. I want to know what that was." And he walked inside again. Inside the morgue, everything looked normal. Too normal. The autopsy table was clean. No body, no blood, no sheet. Michael whispered, "See, nothing is here, let's go." But Dr. Adrian didn't move, because he noticed something strange. The temperature was dropping again, and the lights were flickering exactly the same way as before. Once, twice, then darkness. This time, the emergency light did not come back. Only the flashlight remained. Michael's voice trembled. "Doctor, I don't like this." Then, a sound came from behind them. Clang. Metal hitting metal. Slow dragging sound followed. SCRRRR, SCRRRR. Dr. Adrian turned his flashlight slowly. The autopsy table was back, but it was not empty anymore. The body was there again, sitting upright. But now, it was stitched differently. More damage, more cuts, as if it had been opened after death again and again. Michael screamed, "No, this is not possible." The body's head slowly lifted. Black eyes again. And then it smiled. But the smile was not human. A broken, stretched expression. Then it spoke. "You came back." Dr. Adrian stepped back. "This is not science." The body tilted its head. "Neither is what you are becoming." Suddenly, the room changed again. The walls stretched longer. The door disappeared. The morgue became a never-ending corridor of steel tables. And on every table, there was a body. All of them looked like Dr. Adrian. All of them had the same scratch on their hand. Michael collapsed on the floor. "What is this place?" A whisper came from everywhere. "Part of you is already here." Dr. Adrian held his head. His vision blurred for a second. And in that moment, he saw something terrifying. He was not standing anymore. He was lying on the autopsy table. Michael was gone. And above him, someone was holding a scalpel. A figure with no clear face. Only darkness where the face should be. The figure whispered, "We never lost you. We only waited for you to return." Dr. Adrian snapped back to reality. He was still standing, but now his hand was shaking uncontrollably. The scratch on his arm had grown longer, like a vein spreading. Michael shouted, "Doctor, we need to run now." They turned toward the exit, but the door was gone. Only a wall of metal remained. No way out. Behind them, all the bodies on the tables began to move. Slowly, one by one, they sat up, and all of them spoke together in the same voice. "Stay." The lights turned red. The morgue was no longer a room. It was a trap, a living place. Dr. Adrian whispered, "This isn't real." The stitched voice replied from everywhere, "It is real because you are inside it now." Michael screamed as a hand grabbed him from under one of the tables. He was pulled into darkness. Gone. No sound. No struggle. Just silence. Dr. Adrian stood alone now, breathing heavily. The scratch on his hand had almost reached his wrist. And then, a final whisper came close to his ear. "You open us first. We just opened you back." The lights exploded. Complete darkness. And then, the sound of a scalpel dropping. Clink. Dr. Adrian Cole stood in complete darkness. No lights, no exit, no Michael. Only the sound of his own breathing and something else breathing back. Slow close inside the same space. He raised his flashlight, but it flickered weakly like it was dying. Then suddenly, it turned on by itself, and what he saw made his blood freeze. The morgue was gone. He was no longer inside Harris County General Hospital. Instead, he was standing in a different place. An old underground facility. Rusty walls, broken surgical equipment, chains hanging from the ceiling. A sign on the wall read, "BLACKVALE Autopsy Unit, closed 1987. Dr. Adrian whispered, "This doesn't exist in any record." Behind him, a door slammed shut. Bang! He turned fast. No way back. From the shadows, a voice spoke. Not loud. Not angry. Just patient. "You finally came all the way down." Dr. Adrian pointed the flashlight toward the sound. Nothing. But then, a figure stepped forward. Tall, thin, wearing a torn medical coat. No face. Only a dark hollow where a face should be. The same presence from the morgue, but stronger now. The figure tilted its head. "You kept asking what we are. We are what remains after death is ignored." Dr. Adrian's voice shook slightly. "What did you do to Michael?" The figure paused, then softly said, "He is not gone. He is just useful now." Suddenly, the walls around them began to change. Like breathing flesh under metal. The facility wasn't a building anymore. It was alive. Every wall had faint outlines of human faces trapped inside it. Silent, screaming without sound. Dr. Adrian stepped back. "This is impossible." The figure replied, "You said that before." Then it raised its hand, and somewhere far away, a scalpel slid across metal. Clink, clink, like someone was preparing another autopsy. A loud scream echoed. Michael's voice. "Doctor, help me." Dr. Adrian turned around. A corridor had appeared behind him. At the end of it, Michael was hanging upside down, restrained by metal chains. But his eyes were different. Completely black. Not scared. Empty. Michael spoke slowly. "Doctor, I remember everything now." Dr. Adrian shouted. Michael fighted. But Michael smiled. "I am not fighting. I am learning." The faceless figure stepped closer to Dr. Adrian. "You see now, there is no escape from observation. You open the body, and the body opened you. Dr. Adrian suddenly grabbed a metal rod from the ground. This ends here. He ran toward the figure, but as he swung, the figure disappeared and reappeared behind him instantly. Too fast, too wrong. A whisper entered his ear. You still think you are the doctor, but you were always the subject. Dr. Adrian froze. His arm was no longer normal. The black scratch had fully spread. Now his entire arm looked like stitched skin. Like an autopsy already started. The facility lights turned red again. A loud alarm echoed, and every wall in Blackville started opening, revealing rows of bodies inside glass chambers. All of them looked like Dr. Adrian. Every single one. Michael screamed one last time. Run! But there was nowhere left to run. The figure raised both hands, and everything stopped. Silence. Even sound itself felt trapped. The figure spoke for the final time. This is not a place you entered. This is a place you became part of. Dr. Adrian whispered, I am still real. The figure replied, real is what we decide to keep awake. The lights exploded into pure white. For 1 second, everything was visible. Dr. Adrian standing alone. Michael gone. The figure gone. Only rows of autopsy tables stretching infinitely. And on each table, a version of Dr. Adrian already opened. Then darkness returned. And in that darkness, a final sound echoed softly. A scalpel beginning to cut. Slow, precise, as if the procedure had never stopped. Dr. Adrian Cole opened his eyes slowly. But this time, something was wrong. He was no longer standing. He was lying on an autopsy table. Cold metal beneath his back. Bright surgical lights above his face. And his hands were strapped down. He tried to move, but he couldn't. Metal restraints were tight around his wrists and ankles. A calm voice echoed in the room. Vitals stable. Another voice replied. Begin procedure. Dr. Adrian turned his head slightly. Through blurred vision, he saw figures around him. Doctors, or something pretending to be doctors. Their faces were hidden behind surgical masks, but their eyes were completely black. One of them leaned closer. Subject is awake. Another responded. That's expected. Dr. Adrian struggled. Where am I? What is this place? The room went silent for a moment. Then a familiar voice spoke. Soft, distorted. You are where you always end up. Dr. Adrian froze. That voice, it was the same entity from Blackville, but now it sounded closer. Inside the room. Inside him. A monitor beside the table turned on. It showed his body, but not as he looked now. It showed layers. Skin, muscles, organs. Like an X-ray but alive. And something inside his chest was moving. Slowly, one of the figures picked up a scalpel. Let's begin extraction. Dr. Adrian shouted. No, I am not dead. A soft laugh echoed. Death was never the requirement. Only observation. Suddenly, the lights flickered. For a second, everything changed. The surgical room disappeared. And Dr. Adrian saw something else. He was standing again in the morgue. Harris County General Hospital. But it was empty. No bodies. No staff. Only Michael standing in the center of the room. Michael looked at him, but his face was different now. Calm. Empty. And he spoke. You still don't understand, doctor. You were never investigating us. You were documenting yourself. Dr. Adrian stepped back. This is not real. Michael replied. It is real enough to continue. The room shifted again. Now Dr. Adrian was back on the table. The surgeon's closer, the scalpel touching his chest. A cold voice said, "Open carefully. The subject resists fragmentation." Dr. Adrian screamed, "Stop it." But no one listened. The scalpel pressed in. Slow, precise. And then, everything froze. Mid-movement, the scalpel stopped. The doctors stopped. Even the lights stopped flickering. Complete silence. A new voice entered the room. Different, human, calm. Subject integrity compromised. Reset the cycle. Dr. Adrian felt a sharp pull in reality, like being dragged through space. The room collapsed. The walls folded inward. Everything turned white. Then darkness again. Dr. Adrian opened his eyes once more. He was standing in front of the morgue door. Harris County General Hospital. Nighttime, 11:44 p.m. Exactly like before. A police officer walked in. "Doctor, urgent case." A body arrived on a stretcher, wrapped in white sheet. Dr. Adrian stared at it. His hands trembled slightly. The officer said, "Victim unknown, river recovery." Dr. Adrian slowly stepped forward, his voice barely audible. "No." The lights flickered. Once, twice, and from inside the sheet, a soft breath was heard. 11:44 p.m. Harris County General Hospital, Texas, USA. The morgue lights flickered once, twice, and stabilized. Dr. Adrian Cole stood frozen in front of the stretcher. The body was still there. White sheet. Unidentified. But now it was breathing. Slow. Deliberate. Like it was waiting for him to react. The police officer beside him spoke again. "Doctor, please proceed with the autopsy." Dr. Adrian didn't move. His eyes were fixed on the sheet. His voice came out low. "This has already happened." The officer frowned. "What do you mean?" Dr. Adrian stepped back, because he remembered everything. Blackville, the underground facility, the endless tables, Michael's voice, the scalpel, the loop. He whispered, "I've done this before." The lights flickered instantly. The morgue temperature dropped. The monitors beeped once, then showed. Heart activity unknown. The body on the table slowly moved. A finger under the sheet twitched. Then another. The officer stepped closer. "Doctor, start the procedure." But Dr. Adrian suddenly shouted, "No, don't open IT." The room went silent. Even the lights stopped flickering. Then a voice came from the body. Soft, familiar. "You still don't understand." Dr. Adrian's blood turned cold. That voice, it was Michael. The sheet slowly rose by itself. No hands touching it, just floating upward. And underneath was not a dead body. It was Michael, sitting upright, black eyes again, calm expression. Michael spoke. "You think this is a hospital. It's not. You think this is a morgue. It's not." Dr. Adrian whispered. "Then what is it?" Michael smiled slightly. "It's a recording. A loop that never stops until you accept your role." The police officer suddenly stepped back, confused. "Doctor, who are you talking to?" Dr. Adrian turned. The officer's face was now changing, skin flickering, like a broken video frame. Michael stood up from the table and said, "You are the subject, and I am the memory that keeps it running." The morgue door slammed shut. Bang! All exits disappeared again. Steel walls returned. Blackville patterns started forming on the walls. Dr. Adrian held his head. "No, I broke the loop before." Michael replied, "You never broke it. You only restarted a deeper layer." Suddenly, the floor beneath Dr. Adrian cracked open. Darkness below. Countless autopsy tables stacked infinitely downward. All of them had one thing in common: Dr. Adrian's body. Different versions, different states of decay. Michael pointed downward. "This is you. All versions, all attempts, all failures." Dr. Adrian fell to his knees. "What do you want from me?" Michael stepped closer. "Acceptance. Stop fighting the autopsy. Become it." The lights turned red again. Emergency alarm started. The morgue voice returned. Final stage initiated. Dr. Adrian suddenly felt something inside his chest. Movement, like something was waking up inside him. His vision blurred. He saw himself again on the table, but this time smiling. Michael's voice faded slowly. "When you stop resisting, the loop becomes peace." Dr. Adrian whispered his last words. "I won't become this." Everything went silent. The morgue lights shut off completely. One final sound echoed in the darkness. A scalpel being picked up. Slow, precise, familiar. Then a new voice spoke softly. "Doctor status confirmed. Cycle continues." Outside Harris County General Hospital, a new ambulance arrived. Another unidentified body. Another night. Another 11:44 p.m.